Have you ever really thought about the ground beneath your feet as a canvas? Well, in Portugal, that's exactly what it is. So many of the sidewalks there aren't just for walking. They are these sprawling, incredible works of art. We're talking about intricate black and white mosaics known as Calçada Portuguesa. All right, let's dive into the story that's literally hidden in these stones. See, this is what I'm talking about. These aren't just sidewalks, you know? This is a really unique form of public art, and it has such a deep, fascinating history. From these really simple patterns to super complex images, these stone carpets, they tell a story of culture, of incredible craftsmanship, and really of a whole national identity. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We are going to uncover that story. We're going to look a lot closer at something that millions of people just take for granted every single day. And we're going to find the extraordinary art that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. So where did this unique art form even come from? Well, to find out, we have to go back. I mean, way back. The whole idea of decorating the ground in Portugal didn't just pop up out of nowhere. Its roots stretch back across millennia and empires. You can really see how all these different influences just layered over time. First, you had the Romans, and they brought their super meticulous tessera mosaics. Then, centuries later, the Arabs came and introduced these beautiful, complex geometric patterns. And even religious orders, they kept that tradition of decorative stonework alive. So each of these cultures left its own aesthetic legacy, like a layer of inspiration right in the soil. Okay, so with all of that incredible history just kind of simmering in the background, the stage was perfectly set for a dramatic rebirth. And in the 19th century, right in the heart of Lisbon, this ancient craft was about to be completely reinvented. And this is the year, 1842. This is the pivotal moment. It's in the courtyard of Lisbon's iconic São Jorge Castle that the modern Calçada, as we know it, was born. And the story behind it is it's fantastic. So the legend goes that the military governor, a guy named Eusébio Furtado, who was a big fan of Roman arts, supposedly saw the footprints of a lion and was inspired to recreate that pattern in stone. Now, whether that's totally true or not, who knows? But that one creative spark, it ignited a national art form. So Furtado called his new concept Calçada Mosaico. And this idea was just brilliant because it got right to the key innovation, the deliberate use of black basalts in white limestone. The whole goal was to create this striking visual contrast, making the designs just pop in a way nobody had ever seen on a public street before. Well, the success of that first little experiment led to a project on a truly massive scale. The city commissioned Furtado to pave Lisbon's main square, Rossio. We're talking all 8,712 square meters of it. And the design they chose? It became instantly iconic. They called it Mar Lago, which means wide sea, a name lifted directly from Portugal's national epic poem. It was a straight-up tribute to the nation's history as a global maritime power. And here's the crucial point. This wasn't just decoration. It was national pride, woven right into the fabric of the city. But behind all of this beauty, there's a pretty harsh reality. This painstaking, absolutely monumental work was done almost entirely by prisoners from the castle. They were known as the grilletas, which means the shackled ones, because of the heavy irons they wore while they worked. It's a profound human cost that's hidden within every single one of these beautiful stone waves. After the wild success in Rossio Square, the technique just exploded in popularity. What started as just a novel way to pave a public space quickly evolved into this sophisticated, incredibly expressive art form. The streets of Portugal literally became a public gallery. And you can see the evolution right here. The art moved way beyond simple waves and checkerboards to these full-blown pictorial designs. The artisans, the calceteros, they basically learned to paint with stone, creating these stunning images of ships and animals and symbols right there on the ground. The designs practically became their own language. You'd see maritime motifs like caravels and dolphins celebrating the nation's connection to the sea. You'd see flowers and birds reflecting the natural world. But what's really cool is that each city started telling its own local story, like crabs in a fishing town, for example. And get this, some artisans even hid their initials in the patterns, like a secret signature for anyone who looks closely enough. And while that high-contrast black and white is definitely the signature look, the artistry didn't stop there.
For really special projects, artisans would go out and find these rare colored limestones, pinks and yellows and beiges, to add these subtle but really beautiful flourishes to their work. It just shows the incredible versatility of the craft.
Now, an art form this dynamic was just too big to stay in one country. As Portuguese influence spread across the globe, so did its iconic pavements. The Calçada Portuguesa started to leave its footprint on a truly global scale. The timeline of its journey is just remarkable. In 1905, it shows up in Manaus, Brazil. Just 1 year later, it forms the world-famous wave promenade of Rio's Copacabana beach. By the 1980s, it's paving the streets of Macau. And today, you can find these stone carpets everywhere, from the United States to Spain. And this souvenir sheet of stamps just celebrates that journey perfectly, right? It's showcasing designs from Macau, Brazil, even Massachusetts. It's really a testament to how this uniquely Portuguese art form became a beloved piece of world heritage. So where does that leave the calçada today? Well, the story doesn't just end in the past. In the modern era, this art form has continued to evolve, facing new artistic ideas and some new challenges to its very survival. For most of its history, the design stayed in a pretty traditional, formal style. But then came Expo 98 in Lisbon, and this global event was a massive turning point. The organizers invited contemporary visual artists to create designs for the pavements, and the result was these daring, abstract, modern works that just broke all the old rules and introduced a completely new aesthetic to this ancient craft. But through all of these changes, one thing has remained constant: the human element. This incredible work is still laid by hand, piece by piece, by these skilled artisans called treacherous. It's a physically grueling craft, a skill that's often passed down from one generation to the next, connecting the present day directly back to that very first courtyard in 1842. And this all brings us to a really crucial question for today. This beautiful heritage, it faces some very real threats. The cost of materials is rising, and fewer young people are learning the incredibly demanding skills of the calcetero. So maybe the next time you see a mosaic sidewalk, you won't just see a pattern, but an open-air museum. And the question for all of us is, how do we make sure these incredible stories in the stones are preserved for generations to come?